Paul Sells, Roger Ayers, Mike Reed, our officials, and here we go with Elliot Cadeau in Michigan getting the first possession of the night.
Dame Sarr, the long-arm defender guarding Elliot Cadeau. That puts size on him at the point of attack.
Sometimes Jon Scheyer's toughest decision is who he puts Sarr on. He likes him against so many different kinds of players. Aday Mara, the UCLA transfer, getting better and better. A gifted passer, and somehow he finished that from Cadeau.
That ball was thrown behind Aday Mara, still with his left hand able to corral it and get it off the glass. What a play to start the game for Michigan.
You can't teach 7-3, and Aday Mara is all of that. Boozer, Evans, short on the three, Gungba the rebound, Evans again. And he has been shooting awfully well in recent games, but misses a couple of clean looks here as we take a look at the starting lineup brought to you by Edward Jones. We begin with Michigan. A lot of transfers. 4 of these 5 were elsewhere last season. Yaxel Lendeborg came from UAB, and he, plain and simple, and Dusty May will tell you this, is one of the very best players in the country.
Well, last year only 2 players in the country led their teams in scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, and blocks. Cooper Flagg at Duke and Yaxel Lendeborg at UAB. He's a star.
So versatile both offensively and defensively. Morez Johnson Jr., the Illinois transfer, and the Wolverines out to an early 4-0 lead.
Against ranked teams, Morez Johnson Jr. is averaging 16 points, shooting 73% from the field. If he gets it in the paint, he is making it.
And it is Johnson drawing the assignment of Boozer early, and it is Evans taking it to the rim.
Well, Evans just turned the corner. Aday Mara was there, and he took it and dunked right on him. What a great play by Isaiah Evans.
Lendeborg to Mara. Michigan moves the ball very well. They like to play at a crisp pace if they can, but they execute so well in the half court as well. Elliot Cadeau shooting the ball very well this year, 40% from 3, but misses his first attempt of the night.
That was awfully deep for your first shot, but he has shot it well. 44 threes. The first 2 years he played in college at North Carolina, he had 39 total.
Boozer into Gungba. Kick to the corner. Evans. Now 0 for 3 out there. Boozer with the offensive rebound, and he's fouled by Mara.
Just quicker to the ball than Mara. Nobody able to get a body on Cameron Boozer. He is an excellent rebounder at both ends of the floor, and he always goes after it with 2 hands.
And Cameron Boozer will see more size than he has seen all season. Dusty May, second year as head coach in Ann Arbor. Remember, he took Florida Atlantic to the Final Four a couple of years ago. Michigan goes 7-3, 6-9, 6-9 across the front line, although obviously not all 3 of them are in there all the time. Boozer can shoot the 3. Sarr with a high arcing shot from deep in the corner.
That's over Aday Mara, who's 7-3.
And a 5-0 run for the Blue Devils. Lendeborg fouled, and count the basket. Transfer at Michigan, and you talk about a guy who does everything really on both ends of the floor. Scoring, rebounding, assists, steals, can guard 1 through 5 basically. He is a weapon for Dusty May.
Michigan does a lot of switching. Right now Lendeborg is on Cameron Boozer.
Foul away from the ball against the Blue Devils. I think it's Caleb Foster. Jon Scheyer in his 4th year as the head coach at Duke, 113-24 as a coach and 115-29 as a player. Remarkable numbers in both roles for Jon Scheyer, and both coaches just so excited about everything that this game can do for their teams.
Well, what a play by Roddy Gale Jr., the transfer from Ohio State.
Lendeborg comes down with it and finishes.
Well, Gale Jr. does everything for Michigan. He is a selfless player and one of the most respected players on this roster.
And he's come in for Mara as Foster flies to the rim.
It's remarkable how they can take off on teams.
We talk about teams going on like an 8-0 run or a 10-2 run. Michigan goes on runs that are like 34-6, that kind of thing. I mean, they can run you out of the gym when they are playing their best. Cadeau misses the 3, and a rebound in traffic for Foster.
Duke's guards have got to get in and rebound. That's really important in this game.
Evans with the quick release and the corner three. Lendeborg into the chest of Boozer. Cost him a couple of years, but boy, once he turned things around and got going academically, played in his senior year, then to junior college, then UAB, then to Michigan, and next stop is the pros. He is a talent. Malik Brown into the game for Duke.
A good job by Roddy Yale Jr. to stay down in that shot fake. He stays down in a stance, plays low.
Got to deal with Boozer right now. Almost took it away from him. Boozer to Brown for the flush.
Boy, Gale knocks the ball away, but Boozer gets it back, and what a pass to Malik Brown. And that's one of the reasons Malik Brown shoots like 70% from the field.
Knocked out of bounds, and what a start to this one. Number one and number...
That has played at such a high level and played so consistently. I mean, Cameron Boozer's worst game, his worst, is 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists.
Right. Lendeborg open, hits the three. His shot is getting better. He is not a dead-eye knockdown shooter at this point, but he is a threat out there, and he puts Michigan back on top.
That was just a roll replace action. You're worried about a Dai Mara rolling to the basket. He just replaces out top for that shot.
So Mara back in, and Morez Johnson Jr. has gone to the bench. Brown off to Evans, averaging almost 20 a game over his last 3. Brown will try a 3, and it's rounded out to Lendeborg.
I think that was smart of Mara to just park in the middle of the lane. Yeah, you don't mind daring Malik Brown to take that shot.
Here's a hot hand lately for the Wolverines. Sophomore L.J. Cason, who's been on a roll in recent games.
His last 3 games, 14 points a game, 13 of 19 from the floor, and he knocks down his first in this one.
How about Michigan? 7 for 9 from the floor. Cameron Boozer with a basket at the other end.
He went right into the body of Mara. That takes away his shot blocking ability.
Mismatch inside. Lendeborg scores again.
And how about his strength going to the other side of the rim? He had Caden Boozer on him. He just locked him down in front of him.
Boy, there are some great individual players, some great matchups in this one.
Well, Duke's got to be able to attack some of these switches. You're going to get some matchups that may be in your favor.
Boozer misses the 3. Mara the rebound, and look at the long outlet. Swatted out of bounds by Cam Boozer. Still Michigan ball.
Take a look at Mara setting this screen, and then as he rolls, Yaxel Lendeborg replaces out top, and then just getting the mismatch and no pressure on L.J. Cason. He's just able to see over the top. Caden Boozer trying to sit on the legs of Yaxel Lendeborg, but he's just too strong.
Lendeborg already has 12 points in this game. 12 of Michigan's 19. Cason, lob. Mara couldn't come down with it. It stays with the Tigers. They have been struggling recently, and then we cap the night. Number 23 BYU and number 6 Iowa State. What a day and night of college basketball.
Duke has to figure out a way to get a Dai Mara away from the basket. And they want to put him in as many ball screens as they can.
Boozer right into his chest, and a foul.
He blocked the shot after the contact, but the initial contact was ruled a foul.
So that could be it for Mara for the rest of the half. We'll see how Dusty May plays it.
Boozer just goes right into his chest, not once but twice. Yeah, that's tough, man. He blocked that shot.
So that is a loss for Michigan. Morez Johnson Jr. comes back in, but it just reduces the number of combinations that Dusty May could use, and we'll see if he leaves Mara on the bench for the rest of the half and leaves Johnson and Lendeborg in there for the rest of the half.
But he is so good with that. His hands, Malik Brown's, are spectacular getting steals and deflections.
He has the number 1 steal percentage in the ACC. Boozer, Foster. Cason on him, now Cam Boozer, 10 to shoot. Spinning into the paint, kicks it to Foster. Got it!
Boy, what a play and what a find by Cameron Boozer after spinning. Could still keep his poise and find Caleb Foster for that 3.
And it's all tied up at 19, just over 7 minutes into this one. Johnson one-on-one with Boozer. Two physical, strong guys. Johnson lays it in.
Boy, what a drop step by Morez Johnson Jr. He has had a spectacular year. 70% from two. And he leads the Big Ten in field goal percentage at 67% overall.
He doesn't get quite the attention that some of his teammates get, but he deserves all he's getting and more. He's a big part of their success. Foster open, got another one.
Boy, what a jab step. That jab step threw Roddy Gale Jr. to his left and opened up that shot.
Lendeborg, Gale, a little short, but look at Johnson flying in. Lendeborg down to the court, and a travel is the...
Like it went off the left hand of Gungba, and Gungba was pursuing it, but still they called it off Michigan.
Nicholas Semenya on the floor now for Duke. McDonald's All-American coming off a very good game against Syracuse Monday. He's wide open underneath. More open than he realized, and he lays it in.
Just miscommunication as you had two guarding Isaiah Evans and Nicholas Semenya, and they just lost Semenya on an easy cut.
Duke by 3, nearing the midway point of the first half. Lendeborg an air ball.
Yeah, not a good shot by Lendeborg, just off one pass.
Evans doesn't need much space, can't hit it.
Well, that was a great screen by Gungba to get Evans open. The three-point line has been an important factor to Duke in this first half.
How about Cadeau? A no-look pass to the wing, and Lendeborg buries this one.
Boy, it looked like it surprised Cameron Boozer, and Lendeborg was ready to fire that even after he missed that last one in the right corner.
Jay, he's got 15 of their 24.
He is an absolute star.
He's already over his season average. He's their leading scorer, but at 14.4 a game. Michigan very balanced. Evans, the pull-up three.
That's a tough shot. Trey McKinney was right on it.
Lendeborg, the step back. Evans closes in on him. McKinney, Mr. Basketball in the state of Michigan a season ago. Looks like a running back at 6'4", 225. What a special talent he is. And assuming he's in Ann Arbor next year, Jay, he is going to be maybe the focal point of the team. He's that talented.
No, he's got greatness in him. He's 43 threes on the season, just had 13 points against Purdue. He had 3 of 4 from three-point range. He's got so much talent and blends in very nicely with this uber-talented Michigan team.
5-0 run to Michigan to lead by 2, and an offensive. Has 2. Foster has 2. For Michigan, Mara has 2, but Jay, he just checked back into the game.
Staggered screens on both sides of the floor, and then a fade screen for Cheddar. Cheddar can shoot it, but he turned it over.
Cheddar, the 9th man in a 9-man rotation for Dusty May, and boy does he have great depth, bringing guys like McKinney and Gale and Kaysen off the bench. Duke also goes 9 deep generally. Darren Harris sometimes will play, sometimes won't for John Shire. Cameron Boozer. Look at how physical and determined he is getting to the glass.
Boozer set a hard screen. Michigan switched, and he could take on a guard, McKinney, up at the top.
And his dad, Carlos, sitting just a few feet away from us, loving what he is seeing again tonight from both of his sons, in Cameron and Caden.
Now, Carlos Boozer bullied a few guys in his career.
Mara the kick.
Good fake.
Boozer has to switch on to McKinney. He'll hoist, can't hit. Boozer the rebound. You wonder how anybody sees anything when Amara comes out to defend them with that length.
I'm not sure I would have set that screen if I were Boozer. That allowed the switch to get a big guy back on him. Cadeau was guarding him. He should have taken him down into the post.
Dame Sarr will miss a three, and did Mara just pick up his third? I think he did.
Affect the rest of us. And he told Mara, he said, listen, when things go wrong, the rest of the group has to lean in. I will need you in the second half.
He will now definitely have to sit for the final 7 minutes of the first half. Nearly turned over, and now it is.
Great hands by Yaxel Lindeborg. So many good defensive players on this Michigan team. They're an excellent team defensive team, but they've got good individual defenders as well.
And again, per KenPom, Michigan #1 in the nation in defensive efficiency. Duke #2. How about the second no-look pass from the wing, to the wing rather, from Cadeau to Lindeborg, but this time Lindeborg couldn't hit it.
And Duke had really good box outs. Their guards are getting down to rebound and help the big guys out.
Foster the pull-up, too strong. Cadeau a couple of years with North Carolina, transferring this year to Michigan. And this is what he is doing much better. He is a 40% three-point shooter. Couldn't hit that one, and this game's still tied.
He's missed all 3 of his attempts in this one.
Boozer. And tomorrow morning on ESPN, the Women's College Game Day crew will be in Columbia, South Carolina at 11 a.m. Eastern to get you set for a big day of basketball. It'll be #3 South Carolina hosting #17 Ole Miss at noon, and then Oklahoma and Tennessee. The afternoon is capped off with #12 TCU and Iowa State. 1 of 2 for Boozer. A South Carolina win tomorrow will clinch a share of the 5th straight SEC regular season title. Sarr on Cadeau again. Now Boozer switches out.
Michigan's got to get the ball into the paint. They can't settle for perimeter shots.
Cadeau. Roddy Gale Jr. shut off on the baseline, and a foul is called on Morez Johnson Jr. Point range.
Yeah, in that last possession after the initial ball screen fade action, there wasn't as much movement by Michigan. If you're going to try to drive a set defense, it's going to be tough.
Amenya misses the front end of a 1-and-1.
Michigan needs to play more to the second and third action in a possession.
Johnson the handoff to Cadeau. Lots of time. Back to Johnson. Whoa! Get out of his way!
Well, you got 2 on the ball with Malik Brown helping on that ball screen.
Whatever it was, he knew that he had to leave the game immediately. So LJ Kaysen will become the primary point guard with Cadeau on the bench. Gungba one-on-one with Cheddar. Gets inside and lays it in.
Boy, once you get your body, you have to guard that with an arm bar and not your body, because Gungba can spin right off that body contact. An arm bar helps the defender keep some distance.
First points of the night for Gungba, averaging better than 10 a game. Namari Burnett misses the long 3, but what a rebound by Roddy Gale Jr.
That's what Roddy Gale Jr. does. He makes the plays that are sometimes invisible plays that really helps his team win.
Kaysen driving Foster. Soft off the window and in.
Boy, how about Michigan sticking with it on that possession? They moved the defense and then attacked it and didn't settle for a jump shot. They got it to the rim.
Michigan's largest lead 5, Duke's largest lead 3. It's a 1-point game right now.
Boy, how many teams do we see that LJ Kaysen would?
2 Duke leads 22-8, and the first time they have met in almost 13 years. 1 of 2 for Lindeborg, who still is the high scorer in the game, and easily the high scorer. He's got 16.
Duke has an advantage if they go inside to Gungba.
Boozer drives into a crowd. Lindeborg got knocked down. Boozer a miss. Amenya a rebound and a basket.
Boy, Amenya came in from the corner and just picked up that loose ball and put it back in. That game he had against Syracuse, he had 14, and in the prior 4 games scored 13 points total.
Made all 3 of his threes in that game against the Orange on a Monday night. Duke won by 37. Will Cheddar know?
Well, Michigan's getting some open shots, just not knocking them down. Cadeau's missed a few open ones, and then Cheddar off that pick and pop.
So Duke can tie or take the lead, but they turn it over. Kaysen playing free safety.
Boy, great read as a weak side defender to take that pass away.
Now Gungba has switched on to Kaysen, who's sizing him up. Looking to his coach.
They got to get some movement to create some space if he's going to take on this drive. You don't want to go against this many bodies.
Nowhere to go. Tipped away by Gungba. And they end up turning it. Terrific job forcing that turnover. And Dusty May has Elliot Cadeau back on the floor. So that is good news for the Wolverines. Cam Boozer got a mismatch with Gale. Cadeau came down and it might have gotten a hand in there. It is called Duke ball, and again we will see, will Michigan challenge? Dusty May is looking into the second row at whichever member of his staff has the iPad.
Well, Cam Boozer had a mismatch with Roddy Gale Jr. on him, tried to spin off it and couldn't tell whether it got knocked away or he just lost it.
No challenge. Into Gungba. Sarr up top, guarded by McKinney. Shot clock at 7. Boozer to Boozer. Gale defending him. Cadeau the double. Boozer scores.
He's just too strong. As good of a defender as Roddy Gale Jr. is, you're just going against too much size and strength to try to keep Boozer from getting to the rim.
And with Amara having 3 and Johnson having 2, this is a very small Michigan lineup. So Boozer's got a wing on him instead of a big. Nearly another turnover. Michigan a little ragged offensively the last couple of times down. Lendeborg, no. Final minute of the first half, tied at 33. Boozer wants the ball. Again, he's got Gale or Burnett on him. Got a big size advantage. Sarr scrambles to get it to Hemenya.
Boy, they really need to look inside to Boozer. Gale's fronting him.
Hemenya, no, and Boozer never got a touch on that trip.
Boy, give credit, though, to Roddy Gale Jr. He really fought him.
And now Michigan can hold. Dusty May got their attention and say, hey, everybody, shot clock's turned off. Hold for the last shot. Five seconds. Burnett. And a push. A foul is called. First half, Jay.
Both teams played.
Boozer to inbound. The Blue Devils get the first possession. As Jay mentioned, Adai Mara starts the second half on the bench. Roddy Gale Jr. on the floor for the Wolverines.
And Caleb Foster, Duke's point guard, had a really good first half. He had 8 points and was very strong at the point of attack when he was in the game.
What a matchup. Boozer and Lendeborg. Now the switch into Gungba. Others in town to take on the Wizards. 1 of 2 for Gungba. Duke by 3. And Cadeau just a little stop and start. And Dame Sarr is called for the foul.
Sarr with a little grab with that left arm. And Cadeau didn't score in the first half, but he did have 5 assists without a turnover.
There have been some games where he's been much more of a distributor. Some games where they've needed his shooting. Into Johnson. Keeps the dribble alive. Blocked from behind. Sarr's got it.
A good challenge at the rim by Cameron Boozer. Whereas Johnson Jr. just mishandled that ball. Otherwise, he might have had an easy bucket.
Malik Brown off the fingertips of Gale, out of bounds, still Duke ball. So Brown into the game early in the second half as Gungba has gone to the bench.
Lendeborg matching up with Cam Boozer.
Pick and roll. Now Gale on him. Boozer behind the back. Nice pass.
Dame Sarr just snuck behind the defense. Everybody worried about Boozer. He just snuck behind, and Boozer found him. That's his 5th assist of the game.
And it's also the largest lead of the night now for Duke. Lendeborg trying to answer, spins, and their all-round best player. That man is coaching the #1 team in the nation right now, but they are down 3 in this one.
Lendeborg was the biggest prize I felt in the transfer portal last year out of UAB.
Boozer surrounded. Finds Evans. Evans driving, and Morez Johnson Jr. is having none of it.
Boy, Cadeau kept his chest in front of Isaiah Evans, and slowing him down, that allowed Morez Johnson Jr. to recover and block that shot. And he blocked it 50 feet.
Again, Boozer and Lendeborg. Brown the screen.
Got the switch.
Evans the 3. Yes!
Boy, after Malik Brown rolls, Evans just goes underneath him. That causes a lot of confusion for the defense, and he doesn't need much time at all when he catches. That was gone quick.
Evans 12 for 21 from 3 his last 3 games. That's his 2nd made 3 here tonight. A foul on Caleb Foster.
Now Malik Brown sets a ball screen here, and as he rolls off it, watch Evans right along the right side. He rolls right underneath, and Lendeborg has to switch off, just can't recover in time, as Evans was just so quick on that release.
No look pass, Lendeborg to Cadeau. Now Gale. Johnson. 1-on-1 with Boozer. Up, no good. And down with it is Brown for Duke.
Boy, Duke's defensive rebounding has been excellent.
Foster now playing with 3 fouls. Evans feeling it. Misses the corner 3.
Heck of a block out by Morez Johnson Jr. on Malik Brown.
And Lendeborg, for the 2nd time tonight, driving right into the chest of Cam Boozer to draw a foul.
Boy, how do you stop that when he's going downhill? It's like trying to stop a Brinks truck.
The 2nd on Boozer. Non-shooting foul. Michigan just 2 points in the first 3 minutes of the 2nd half. Johnson for 3. His 6th of the season.
Yeah, he doesn't take many of them, just shoots about 33%, but didn't hesitate on that one.
They needed that. Michigan back within 3. And contact away from the ball underneath. A foul on Michigan.
Looks like Cadeau. Morez Johnson Jr. Malik Brown was just daring him to shoot that, and he took him up on it.
And you're right, it was Cadeau, just his first. Again, Boozer isolated on Lendeborg. Does not try to drive him. Evans back to Boozer. Kick to Foster. Lendeborg the rebound. Cadeau went flying and was looking for a foul call.
They got pushed from behind by Dame Sarr.
Lendeborg behind the screen. Kept alive by Gale, but only momentarily. It's back to Duke. And so far, Jay, the 2nd half has been much like the first half was. Hard fought, intense. But right now, both of these teams getting it done more at the defensive end than they are at the offensive end.
Well, the 2 best defensive teams in the country. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise.
Sarr, what a pass. Boozer blocked. Brown, no. And it'll be Michigan ball.
Boy, Boozer got a great cross screen for Malik Brown, but it was just erased by the Michigan defense at the rim.
Number 3 Duke up. And looking in on this one here tonight.
Well, this has been a heavyweight fight between Michigan and Duke. And the NCAA top 16 reveal from the tournament selection committee. Iowa State getting the 4th #1 seed. A lot of people thought it would have been Houston, but the Cyclones grabbing that as a 1 seed.
And remember earlier today, you may have seen it on ABC, Arizona without Koa Pete with a big road win in Houston. Huge win for Tommy Lloyd's team.
And 2 straight games by Anthony Del Orso of 22 points.
Aday Mara, how are you going to stop that?
He's such a good passer. So Duke went one-on-one in the post with Boozer. He just turned over his left shoulder and shot right over him.
Just his second field goal attempt, his second make on the night, and Michigan back within 1.
And Malik Brown almost had Isaiah Evans on a back cut.
Evans stopped by Gale. Shot clock down to 7. Sarr with Amara on him. Drives. Tried to dunk it. And a foul on Cameron Boozer.
What a block with the left hand by Aday Mara. And you could have gotten both either Caleb Foster or Cam Boozer on that foul against L.J. Kaysen going after the ball.
Number 3 on Boozer. Aday Mara 4th in the nation in blocks at 2.7 a game. And Jay, as many as he blocks, he probably alters or impacts even more.
And that's why you have to run action, put him in ball screens to get him away from the basket. But even away from the basket, he made that recovery to block that shot.
And Michigan looking for the lead on this trip. In and out for Lindeborg.
Boy, Duke's got numbers.
Sarr, cross court. Evans. Boozer the rebound. Foster.
Boy, Roddy Gale Jr. went for that steal, and that opened up the middle on that pass out from Boozer after the offensive board.
L.J. Kaysen baseline, stopped by Evans. Plenty of time to reset.
Open side pick and roll.
Cadeau, a deep one. Another rebound for Boozer.
What's that, 0 of 4 now from 3 for Cadeau?
It is. He has yet to score in this game.
He does have 5 or 6 assists.
Averaging 10 points per game. He's got 5 assists and still no turnovers in the game.
And one of the factors now with L.J. Kaysen having to guard mismatch with Boozer.
Into Gungba. And Mara got another one.
Looked like it went off Kaysen.
It will stay with Duke with 4 on the shot clock. Mara getting more minutes. Remember, had all the foul trouble in the first half, and you can see the impact he can have on the game at the defensive end.
Even when you knock him back with that length, and now he's guarding the ball out of bounds. Tough to see over Aday Mara, the transfer from UCLA.
McKinney into the game for Michigan. Hamenya into the game for Duke. Gungba with the shot clock running down. Foster the rebound. Evans for 3. And Lindeborg, I believe, called for the foul, or did they get McKinney? Trey McKinney of Michigan called for the foul, his second.
Just a push in the back. Unnecessary, because I don't think Hamenya was going to get that rebound.
Foster to try to inbound it over the outstretched arms of Mara. Gungba the cut and lays it in.
Boy, he went to set the screen, just slipped to the basket. Beautifully run.
Duke's lead up to 5. McKinney. Offensive rebound and put back for Gale.
One of the few offensive rebounds. Nobody turned to block out Roddy Gale Jr. from that right wing. Duke's rebounding has been excellent in this game, but give Michigan credit. This is one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the country.
And to your point, just the 3rd offensive rebound of the night for Michigan. Duke's got 9. Evans, no. Boozer has it.
Boy, Boozer just in a crowd fighting with 2 hands to get that rebound.
Up to 7 rebounds now, and give him a bucket and up to 11 points. 7 assists and 7 rebounds. He may wind up with a triple-double in this game.
We're talking about a complete basketball player in Cameron Boozer.
Cadeau on the bench, Kaysen at the point. They can run a lot of offense through Mara, a gifted passer. Good job by Sarr. Boy, he can stay in front of just about anybody. Lindeborg won't challenge Boozer. Shot clock running down. Kaysen knows it. Got the rim, tipped back out, and coming right to us. 9 into the second half.
Aday guarding Patrick Gungba, and you've got Morris Johnson Jr. picking up Cam Boozer. Got to walk. That play designed as a handoff action to fake it so that Cam Boozer can get to that right-hand drive down the lane line. Just went a little early and walked with it.
First turnover committed this half by the Blue Devils. Can the Wolverines get clicking offensively? They have not looked like themselves for much of the night.
And a lot of that has to do with Duke's defense. They have been very, very active.
Nice look inside. Johnson. Tough angle, but he gets it to go.
That's why he shoots almost 70% from the field. A really strong move right up in to Cameron Boozer.
So it's down to 3. Caden Boozer at the point. McKennie on him. Boozer. Lob. Gungba the finish.
Boy, Duke is getting some really good movement from side to side. That slot ball screen, just a roll down the middle of the lane. Beautifully done.
Kaysen shakes Sarr. Lendeborg blocked by Boozer. And he kept it in bounds, only to turn it over. Kaysen over Hamenya, in and out. Boy, how did that not go down?
Duke has really been controlling the tempo in this second half, and they've lifted up this Michigan defense and really spread it out.
Gungba will try a 3. Johnson soars for the rebound.
Well, he is such a good athlete. Michigan has 3 players that average over 10 points a game and over 7 rebounds. Good fade.
Johnson, Lendeborg, and Amara. Michigan, though, now just 4 for 20 from 3-point range. Duke not much better, 5 for 18.
And one of the big factors is Michigan has mostly been one shot and out with a lot of offensive rebound opportunities.
Nearing the midway point of the second half. Taken away by McKennie. And fouled by Sarr.
Well, Duke on the offensive end, they're putting the big guys in ball screen action. Great screen by Patrick Gungba. Mara stays too long on the ball. That led to the dunk on the alley-oop, and a great defensive play by Cameron Boozer. Not known as a shot blocker, but he was there.
McKennie, the pull-up won't go. Hamenya the rebound. Chris.
Jon Scheyer in that last timeout said this game will come down to 2 things: getting back on transition and your defensive rebounding. So I need you to focus on that the remainder of these 10 minutes.
And Duke has done a very nice job keeping Michigan out of transition. Michigan fans wanted to travel. They don't get it, and Hamenya has given Duke its largest lead of the night. Cadeau still going. Fouled by Sarr, and then Gungba and Johnson getting physical in the lane as Cadeau makes the second. And Jake Cadeau's first points of the night.
I think Duke should keep putting Aday into ball screen situations. Draw him away from the basket.
Gungba to Caden Boozer. Back to Gungba. Pretty offense from the Blue Devils.
Beautiful drop-off pass, and then Gungba just followed it to the rim. As Caden Boozer able to get Aday to switch off on him.
Cadeau gets around Foster, can't hit it. And a whistle underneath. And
again.
Mara can struggle at the line, just 49% on the season. It is a 4-point game with 4:40 to go.
Got a switch. Now Cadeau's on Boozer. Switch back.
Evans. Off the fingertips of Gungba. It's Michigan ball. Mara wants it.
What a pass.
Back to Johnson. No foul. They play on. Lendeborg. And he runs down his miss.
Boy, didn't everybody stop thinking there was a foul?
Boy, has Michigan had open looks from beyond the arc. They have not been able to hit consistently tonight. Mara going to work offensively. Cadeau. Lendeborg again. And they are back within one. As Lendeborg's mom looks on here in D.C.
That was all the offensive glass for Michigan.
Both coaches said it simulated and even exceeded the atmosphere that they have with open practices during the NCAA tournament. And to top it all off, Jay, it looks like we are going right down to the wire in a close one, as Evans will slam it home to make it a three-point game.
Boozer set a back screen. And a terrific cut off that back screen by Isaiah Evans. Now Lendeborg looking to lock Evans down in the post. Mara didn't look at him.
What a pass from Mara, but Cadeau missed the layup.
Well, you can't have an easier shot, and Cadeau just missed it.
Cadeau now 0 for 7 from the field in this game. Does have 6 assists.
Boy, Duke really trying to spread out with an open post. That gets Mara away from the basket to keep Gungba out on the perimeter setting screens.
Two-man game, Boozer and Gungba. Mara on Boozer with the shot clock running down. Got back his own miss. And a foul. More college action coming your way on this Saturday night. Kentucky and Auburn are just about ready to get going. They will tip at 8:40 on ESPN News, and then a little later on, Iowa State and BYU, 10:30 Eastern at the Marriott Center in Provo. So, Jay, Michigan had it down to 1. All of a sudden, it's back to 5.
Well, that missed layup by Cadeau was a gut punch. But Michigan has got to find a way to move this defense.
Mara spins and hits.
Well, he turned away, looked like he was going to try to dribble middle, and just spun right off the contact from Gungba. What a beautiful move by Aday Mara.
And he is checking his chiclets. He looks like he might have taken a shot in the mouth and was feeling for a couple of teeth maybe. 3-point game, inside 2 minutes to go.
Good pass.
Boozer for 3. Johnson. Cadeau is open and answers with a 3 of his own.
Boy, how about the guts to take that shot when Cadeau was, what, 0 for 6 or 0 for 7?
0 for 7. Back to a 1-possession game, inside a minute and a half to go.
Boy, this is all about getting stops right now, and Duke's been getting some action on back cuts with this spread offense.
Boozer wants it. Look at the defense by Johnson.
Going 1-4 low.
Inside 10 on the shot clock. Boozer driving. Blocked, but it's a goaltending call. Free throws for Cadeau.
And here comes the full court pressure.
Boozer slings it to his brother. They get it over quickly. Cadeau hounding Caden Boozer, now Cam Boozer. And they can be patient here. Michigan will play the possession out.
Got the switch now. Cadeau on Boozer.
9 to shoot. Over the top, Gungba. No, Gungba got
what
it
a
back.
rebound.
And now they basically have to foul. The seconds are ticking away, and they'll put Evans.
Play of the game for Duke was that offensive rebound by Patrick Gungba after he slipped out of that screening action. To get that offensive board was a huge play.
Michigan needs to score fast. Burnett misses the three. Tip no. Sarr's got it. Foster's got it. Evans has got it. And Duke will win it.